Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. I'm Sarthin, and I play on the EQ emulated server called EZServer. And it's been a while now since I made any content videos, well, with the only exception of the trailer of the new Tunare expedition that I made like a week ago. So today I wanted to make a video of the entire fight. So this will obviously be a super spoiler. It's meant to be a video to show you how I do this expedition. I'll try and throw out a few tips and tricks and explain how I do it along the way. Probably a bit rusty. It's been a while since I made content videos while playing, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, basically I've covered most of the content already in my previous video, so there hasn't really been too much to make in terms of content before now. But I'm really excited about this expedition. I've had tons of fun doing it already. It has some really rewarding loot, and I know that the next tier is being worked on as well. So yeah, I'm actually very positive for the future right now, and I think we'll see a lot of exciting stuff happening in the next months. So let's jump right into it. Tunare expedition. It starts in Vishan's Peak. It's pretty high up in the zone, right where you take off into Rafer's area, just a while before the bridge. So you take the path over here, and you'll find Hashker. So Hashker is the one that is the NPC that starts this Tunare's expedition. So first thing you gotta do is to form your raid. As you can see here, I'm running 12 characters right now, and here are the different classes. I got a Zerk, Cleric, Monk, Necro, 2 Paladins, 2 Rogues, 2 Warriors, and 2 Wizards. So 2 Rogues, 2 Wizards, good DPS. So an extra Warrior, not very much. So I got a Cleric here. Don't really need the Cleric too much. You got the Paladins, and they are super nice for this long fight, because they will not run out of mana. They proc their heals and fight to live another day and all that. So they're just super nice to bring along. Cheap but good healing, sustainable healing. My clerics usually run out of mana mid-fight. I'll try and pay attention to it today, because I know that Tunare drops a debuff on you, which increases the mana cost. So we'll try and see if that is an AoE or just hitting the tank. If it does pose as an AoE, then that will go a long way explaining why my healers run out of mana during the fight. So I'll try and keep an eye out on that. So this is my groups. 2 groups form this raid. The most important thing to bring along, besides your tank obviously, will be 1 or 2 paladins, and then you would want to have as good DPS as possible to make the fight as short as possible. Rogues and wizards are really nice, so if you have some of those, make sure to bring them along. But before you start the fight, I'm going to mention a few things that I think can be important to be aware of and to prepare for before you start the expedition. So one of your main problems will be dying, your main tank dying, because once you start this expedition, these mobs that you encounter will hit you pretty hard, and if you get an unlucky round on you, then you might end up being dead, and that is why it's important to make a few hotkeys that can help you recover from that. I do have this one here, all res. This is because I have 2 characters in my raid that has this specific item, the Mass Resurrection reward item. This is a really nice item to have, and I'm sure a lot of you have this, one, two, maybe three. But if you don't have it, then you can also use the resurrection effect on the ultimate armor from T10. The plate armor has a resurrection effect. So you can set up a hotkey like this one here. It is a bit, yeah, okay, I'll try and explain. So it's a multi-line here. So it tells here it tells my character to target my corpse, and then item notify left wrist right mouse up means it'll click its bracer. So this is how I set up my hotkey to resurrect me. And if you don't have I normally just use this button here if I die, and that'll be enough to get me recovered and back in the fight. So I'm actually, if I don't naturally die during the fight, I don't normally die, but if I don't, I'll die on purpose just to show you how how I recover from the fight. So yeah, make sure you set up some hotkeys here to get you back into action. Also, I like to have some what I call crap buffs to start with, because if you put your best buffs in front here, like your mitigation buffs, for instance, you will it will be once you get to the Tunare fight and she will start throwing some darts on you, you will definitely lose some good buffs. Sorry. So so you want to make sure that you put your mitigation buffs further down the spell slot line. So I'm just gonna buff up real quick here, and we'll get this sorry, this expedition starting. I'm trying to remember if there is, yeah. We'll have a quick look at my the equipment that I have currently. As you can see, my tank is pretty much maxed on gear. So that is definitely helpful. So let me just see here how much hit points I have. Yeah, so right now I'm sitting at 1800, 18 million, I mean. I think I may be lacking a few buffs. It doesn't really matter. You can do this. One of my other tanks that I use to kill Tunare has around 16.5 million buffed. So it is entirely possible to do it without having all max gear. But make sure that you do whatever you can to get as much hit points as possible, because that will obviously increase your survivability. So you can also use these ones if you do the tier 10 expedition, or if you kill the bosses in tier 10, you will make sure that you stack up some of these for your tank. They're really nice here. Let me just see the increase here. I'm not sure. Okay, so as you can see here, it's like 600-700k increase. So every little bit helps. So yeah, just stack up on items and buffs that'll increase your hit points, and you'll be better off for it. Let me just cover a few more things that will increase your survivability. You have I'm using cleric right now, so if I wanted to, I could use use the Tower of V, which will increase my stone wall. Right now, for a normal tank with normal buffs, you'll have 79% stone wall. A recent cap has been enforced to 85%. So you can just use your discipline ability here called cover. It'll, as you can see here, it'll increase my stone wall to 85%, which will, if you have any issues with this fight, then I suggest that you use this ability, because it will definitely improve your chance of surviving the fight. You may also use your cleric's VE spells if you have a cleric along for the ride. So there's that. Yes, I think that's it mainly. Before you start the expedition, make sure you form your raid, obviously, and make sure that none of your characters are on cooldown. This expedition has a 2-day lockout, so once you've completed it, once you've killed Tunare, you have to wait 2 days before you can do it with the same group again. So you basically have to stand under Hashkar's belly here to to be able to hail and follow the dialogue here. So make sure that you get pretty close to the NPC before you start. Once you click through this dialogue, you will get up the shared task for everyone, where you have to kill some ads here, and then in the end Tunar, and you'll see you'll get rewarded with some platinum and some hive shards, and also the the loot that Tunar will have for you. So once all your entire raid group has the task, then the next thing you have to do, just make sure that you are fully buffed and ready to go. And when you're ready to go, just type ready while you have Hashkar's target. And so Hashkar will run off here and in a second here, remove the stones here. Just make sure that you are ready for the action, because yes, you can see here we already started. This is the first ad. I may, as you can see here, my off tank is stealing aggro, which is probably because I forgot to maybe he has his hate stomp on. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. If it continues to happen, then I may just check his weapon if I have forgotten to remove his hate stomp augment from the weapon. I don't normally. I normally, when I use my entire group, my entire raid with 48, I just use my hate stomp on Sarthin, because otherwise, if I use it on my other warriors, they'll just steal aggro. So inside these doors, there will be 2 ads. Back a week ago, both ads were hitting really hard, and then I just basically just hit riposte or cover something to make sure I don't die. But it's not a problem anymore, because this the feral dude here is just doing one damage, so it's nothing to be too worried about, really. So let's just. I'll try and it is a bit awkward because it's been a while since I since I made any content, so it is always a bit awkward to comment and play and focus at the same time. So I'll just try and get down to Tunare really quick and not make this a really long video. As you can see, here is some of the loot that drops on the way down. You also have a chance to get some really nice AA crystals. So just a quick note here for the way down to Tunare. There will be some points during this road down here where you may come across more than one ad. So might want to be careful. This first one here is just easy. You can just pull this one up here. There will be an ad coming down there at some point, so, or maybe that was the next, maybe that is the next level even. I'm not sure. This one is not dispellable. You cannot cure this one. So as you can see, I lost my illusion here as well. Just reapplying that. Just like to have it around. There is one more thing. I just noticed my rogue was about to steal aggro. So there is one more thing. I'm not sure, so you can. I didn't say that in the beginning, but make sure that you have the characters that deals most damage and gets most hate in your own group. If you have this Halloween necklace, or maybe the Ralisec, I mean not necklace, the earring, or if you have an enchanter, because it has the effect of masked strength. So it is a good idea to well, you don't actually need to have, you can actually use target group buff. So, but yeah, make sure that you use that one if you have it. I actually thought I had it on denied buffs here, but maybe only on Sarthin. So I'm just gonna click it off on my main tank. Obviously don't want it on him. So then moving on. Yeah, just make sure that you have mask strength on your DPS classes. So yeah, okay. So this is the point where you can see here we have an ad here, and if I stand here and fight, which I will do right now, there will be an ad coming up here. Maybe I will be able to kill him before the ad comes, but if not, I'm going to target him with my tank like I did now, and I'm going to pop my riposte. And this is just a precaution. It doesn't necessarily mean that I had to do it, but it's a good thing to do that, because if you have two of these hitting you, there is a big chance that you will die. So while my other characters were killing the first one, I made sure to target the second one and keep aggro on it while popping my riposte, so I didn't receive too much damage. So you could also use cover if you want to. It does add some really nice survivability. I don't normally die very much during this fight, so I find myself not using Tower V or cover, but I use riposte occasionally because, well, it does not only mitigate, but it also gives me some extra DPS. So yeah, so I prefer to use that if I can. So we have one ad here, and then we have two more ads down here. This ad down here will not deal a lot of damage, just 1 damage. So even though you pull both of them, you will only have one ad that will deal a lot of damage. So you're not really in a position where you need to worry about using riposte during that pull. But let's grab this one first here and kill him, and then we'll try and kind of quickly move down and start the Tunare fight. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see here, okay, let me see. Okay, yeah, so they are hitting really hard. So just as I said, make sure that you have maxed your hit points by any means you got available, and then make sure that you use all available tools if you have any issues with this fight. I know most people that I've been talking to have done this fight already and found it challenging but doable. But I know a few people are struggling with it, and you know, that is mainly the reason why I made this video, because I wanted, you know, not that I'm doing everything correctly. There are many ways to successfully do this expedition. I'm just showing my way of doing it. Maybe you can pick up some pointers that will help you when you do this yourself, or maybe not. Anyways, just hopefully it'll be useful for someone. So we're getting close to the door down into Tunare. The thing I try to do, if you send the wrong, if you don't get, if your tank doesn't get aggro at once, there is a big chance that whoever gets aggro will die really fast. So just try to keep that in mind. Tunare will be a fight where a lot of different ads will spawn, and during these phases where the ads will spawn, make sure and do your best and try and get your tank to get first aggro. That way you don't have to deal with resurrecting, rebuffing, and all that. I will show you a certain point of the fight where you can actually spend some time rebuffing if you've had a lot of characters dying. So we'll get to that pretty soon. I actually really enjoy this expedition. I think it's a fun fight, and I think it's really rewarding loot as well. So yeah, I'm really happy about this actually. But it has been said by the game master that this expedition was meant to be an expedition for players that have more or less maxed their gear. I'm sure you'll find out, same as I, that the more times you do this fight, the more experience you get, the more tricks and strategies you get. So it'll get easier eventually. So here we are, Tunare's room, and you don't really need to go around and go over and attack her or hail her or anything. Just make sure that one of your characters get close enough to her, and the fight will begin. I usually end up maybe quite often I end up losing one character during this initial phase because once the fight begins, she will send one of these cats on you, and chances are big that if you don't catch aggro with your main tank, you're gonna end up losing a character or two. So, and it seems kind of random which one of these will attack you first. They won't both attack you at the same time, but sometimes this one seems to attack me first, and sometimes this one here. So, if you position yourself, what I normally do, I just position myself in a way that I try and make sure that that my tank gets first aggro. So what I do is, while I have my character sticking to my back, I'll just turn like this, and they will my other characters will go behind me, and if I move a bit further back, I'm just gonna target this one here, put the attack on, just to make sure. Get ready to spam my hate generator. So I'm just gonna move back and a little bit, and there we go. Okay, so I managed to get aggro, which is nice. Quite often, when that ad hits me first, it might just go ahead and kill one of my other characters. So let's just burn this one down. And while I'm killing this, I make sure that I turn around a little bit on the camera here, just to make sure that I can get the other cat on the target for my tank, so I'm prepared for that. You can move around a bit as well if you want to. Just as you can see here, during this phase, Tunare will not hit me. I'll need to kill these two cats first, and once I've done that, she will then attack me. I think I heard something about someone doing the moving out, staying outside of these doors, because then you will actually have some like a breather, you'll have a break from killing ads before Tunare reaches you. So I've not done that myself. I haven't tested that myself, but if you have some sort of issues with ads, and then suddenly Tunare is on you and killing you, maybe you can move to another spot where you will get some more time before Tunare hits you, because once this cat is dead, then she will aggro. So I make sure that I target her with my tank when the cat is almost dead. I face a little bit towards her, and then I just pop in and start trying to get aggro with my main tank first. So it's pretty easy once you've done it a few times. Tunare's got a lot of hit points. Right now I have only 12 characters, but they are all pretty much maxed, just so you know. And I do run 2 rogues and 2 wizards in this group. So my DPS is, while it's not the most optimal rated group, I got a few characters in here that I could do without, like the cleric and like the extra warrior. So I got some not so great DPS, and as so it's not optimal group, but it is a pretty good DPS group, seeing that I have 2 wizards and 2 rogues in here. So being just about maxed on all characters, and also having some good DPS classes in here, I will deal quite a bit of damage to her. So you might be in a position where you have not that geared characters, but you may end up having having a larger raid group than I'm using right now, so that evens out a bit, I guess. When it comes to these buff series, you just noticed that I lost my illusion. So what would happen if I had my mitigation buffs over here? They would vanish. So just make sure, if you suddenly find yourself dying, then you might be you might be in a position where Tunare had debuffed your mitigation buffs with her debuffs. So make sure that you pay attention to that as well. As you saw when this Grawl, this ad here, he really hits hard. As you can see here, it's kind of crazy DPS. So if you have troubles staying alive during this phase, make sure that you use your cover, V, anything you can to increase your survivability for a short period. You may notice that I clicked my riposte when he popped, just as a precaution to prevent me from dying, basically. So this is a really hard hitting one. The other 2 ads are not that hard hitting. They are obviously hitting really hard, but not as hard as he is. So yeah, so might be a good idea to use your riposte on the first ad, like I just did there. So as you can see, I'm not using V, I'm not using cover. My hit points are around 18.5 million. So and I got 1 paladin in my group healing me, and I also got 1 cleric healing me. Let's see here. Yeah, as you can see, my cleric is around 60% mana, so he loses mana really fast, and by around 50-60% on Tunara, he will probably be out of mana. But the best healing class to bring along is the paladin, because they don't run out of mana when they heal. So yeah, they just sustain healing better than anyone else, any other classes during long fights like this. It's super nice to bring along. I make sure and I target this, and just make sure you don't send your characters in before your main tank has aggro, because they will most likely die. So yeah, just try and play a bit safe with these ads. Get aggro with your tank first. If you're okay, just let me a second here. So I'm just gonna reapply my illusion here. So after this ad is dead, there will be a longer period where we just do damage to Tunare. I'm saving my major disciplines for later in the fight. I will tell you why and when in a few, when we get lower on Tunare's health. So right now I've only used this riposte for Grawl, the ad that hit really hard. So you may want to use some other things there as well, depending on how you, depending on what items you have, how much hit points you have, what classes you have in your raid and stuff. So yeah. Right now it's just tank and spank for a while, and in a little bit we'll get another interesting ad. He doesn't have too many hit points, so he goes down pretty fast, but once he's dead, he will create some chaos by spawning a lot of ads. It's actually it's actually quite cool. But these ads, they don't hit hard at all. So if you find yourself in a position where you have during the first part of the fight, you have lost a few characters, maybe you've rested them back in, but they are not buffed. You can actually use that part of the fight as a break. You can actually apply some buffs again, because you will not be taking a lot of damage during that phase. I'll show you in a little bit. Let's just get her down a bit more. I'll also show you how I recover from a death. I might not die naturally during this fight, but if I don't, I'm gonna kill myself and show you how I do it with the buttons, the hotkeys that I set up here. I'm not going to be using this one basically because I already have 2 characters with this one. But if you're in a different position and you have a few plate users, you might want to set up a hotkey like this instead. There are many ways to do it. Like this is just an example of how you can do it. So we're getting closer to the okay, this one, I want to check this one. Let me just okay, so it looks like I was wondering, I know you can cure this one. I was just wondering, because my clerics were running, and my clerics and druids and shamans, they were running pretty low on mana already at like 50% of the fight. So I was wondering if this was an AoE or if it was just for the main it was just hitting me as a tank. It doesn't look like it's AoE, so it doesn't really explain why my healers run out of mana. So yeah, it's just basically the mana cost of the heal spells and the fact that I'm spamming the heals, which I have to do really. I mean, because things are hitting really hard here, so kind of have to spam heal. Okay, so we got the ad here. Like I said, he's not really hitting too hard. You can get some bad attack rounds, but as you can see here, but yeah, it is not very frightening if you're good geared. So now we get to the intermission that I talked about. So basically at this point, they will create some chaos, these ads here. But they won't do much damage, and Tunare will not do anything right now. This is a phase of the fight where you can actually, if you have a buff macro, you can just, yeah, you can use that. This is bad though. So you can see here, it said they stripped me of my defenses. So what happened was I lost my defensive buff there. So I'm just gonna reapply some crappy buffs here and make sure that I used my shield click here in a few. I just have to wait until it cools down and can use it again. So I have to reapply that before I engage Tunare again, or else I will end up with fighting her with a lower stone wall. So, but I want to show this as well, because sometimes you will see these shards running off like this, and if that happens, make sure that you kill them. This is the hotkey that I use right now to just target and nuke from distance. And make sure that you kill them, because if they, I'm not sure if they do it anymore. I'm not sure if they do it anymore, but if at some point when I did this fight, one of these shards, well, a few of these shards were actually running out of the door here, aggroing someone outside and whatnot, and it was a mess. And Tunare, you won't be able to engage Tunare again before all these shards are dead. So if they run out of the room, you will have to run after them and kill them before you can continue fighting her. So yeah, just kill them in this room. They will create some chaos here by casting some gravity flux kind of spells. Some of your characters may resist it, and some of them will just pop around in the room like crazy. So okay, Tunare is almost ready to engage her again. So I'm just gonna quickly have my characters target and attack this one, and I'll switch to Tunare myself, and then I'll send my characters in just to make sure that they don't die. It's not a big problem if I lose a character too, but it will cut my DPS down quite a bit. So it is a good idea to always make sure that you get aggro on your tank before sending your other characters in. So we are now getting ready for... I actually just realized that my audio triggers are shut off. I actually have audio triggers on, like this one.
Warrior's
And
defense
this one.
has faded. Ancient stone wall has
And
faded.
it'll actually let me know. It'll actually let me know when I lose them, so I can reapply them really quick. Now I didn't have them on, so I basically died. I have this click here that that makes me divine intervention. So I had that on. I think I buffed it with V on. Yeah. So it basically saved my life if I had it on. I can't really remember, but this is what happens when you don't pay attention. So I was meaning to tell you about that as well, because setting up audio triggers is a good way to make sure that you can reapply your mitigation buffs quickly, or else you will die. So now, during this part of the fight, when this flower spawns, I usually I got caught up talking right now, but I usually pop my Savage Onslaught and my gloves, just because I'll have both Tunare and the flower hitting me at the same time. So yeah, I basically feel like that is a good time to use my best riposte. So yeah, you might want to do that if you want. So what happens now is when Tunare gets down to like 5%, she will cast a super hit point regen on herself, and we will have... I'm just gonna put attack off for a bit here. See if the cleric can heal me. If I die, that's fine, because I want to show you how I res. I'm just gonna buy myself some time here to explain. So when Tunare is at 5%, she will spawn the last ad, which will be a black horse. And during that point, she will regenerate her hit points really fast. So a good tip from me is to save your best damage disciplines for this part, because you want to kill the black horse as fast as possible, so you can move back to Tunare before she has regenerated a lot of health. It is not a big problem if she does it. It just means that you will spend longer time killing her, basically. And she does that as well. She casts a blind on you. So just make sure that you keep healing and clicking your buttons. It'll wear off pretty quickly. So it's not a major annoyance, it's just a little bit of chaos. But it is a varied fight. I really enjoy this fight, actually. It's got a lot of interesting components in. And while it's not super hard for me because of my gear and stuff, it is really fun to do. And not the least, it's really rewarding items you can get as well when you completed the expedition. So we're getting close to the black horse spawning here. You can see it spawns there. So at this point, I'm just gonna pop all my best DPS disciplines. Since I haven't used this already, I usually do this during the flower ad. But you can save it to this one as well if you want to. Just burn it down really quickly and then move back to Tunare. And right now you can see she has not really gained too much hit points. Sometimes if I'm really slow, she will have like 30% hit point, maybe more even, depending on how well you do it. But I promised that I was gonna die, so let's do that. Let's kill myself, and I'll show you how I recover from the fight. I just push this one, rest back in. I make sure that I apply some crap buffs first. That's the first thing I do. Crap buffs, then I put on my mitigation buffs again. If I have a shield, I do that. If not, I'm just gonna resume attacking, and as you can see here, I lost 2 characters, so I'm just gonna rest them back in here. You may be in a situation where you have different hardware than me, maybe you zone slower than me, but as long as you have 12 or more characters, I find that you should be able to recover once you've had some training on doing it. It actually is pretty easy. Yeah, it actually is not too hard once you've done it a few times. Just make sure you set up some good hotkeys to make sure that you rest in pretty quickly, and then throw in some crap buffs, some mitigation buffs, and then you start engaging again. You also want to rest back in. If you have the rest clicky, you may want to rest in the other characters that died. I usually save my own shield Wings of Angels here in case I die. I see I've used it recently, but I normally save it in case I die and then just apply it once I get back in. Some people... oh, okay, so this will deal some damage, so make sure that you heal. Even though you've killed her, unless you want to rest and back in. Some people have small combat macros that they use when they fight. So like if I lose a character, I could just mash my hotkey 2 here, and it would basically tell my warrior, I mean whichever character has died. Like if my wizard dies, it would tell him to apply his own buffs before attacking the target again once I've rested him in. So you can do that as well. I mean, there are many ways to do this. I actually find myself not needing it much because I don't normally lose many characters during this fight, but if I do, I sometimes just kind of just do a quick like this. I switch to a character, I just really fast click these and then pop back in here. So you can do that. You can set up a macro. There are many ways to deal with getting characters back in a good buffed state once they have been resurrected. So yeah, but that is the fight. So hopefully it gave you an idea of how I do it. And while that is not a perfect way of doing it, there are so many different ways to do this expedition. It works, and if there's something I did here that will benefit you that you haven't thought of yourself, then I'm just happy with that. Okay, let's just see what she dropped. Okay, so she got a shield here. Okay, so this is a really nice shield. I already have it here. But if you don't have this yet on your tank, it's definitely something you wanna combine with a one-hander here to increase your survivability during tough fights. So yeah, I guess that is it for this video. Pretty sure there are some things I forgot to mention, but it's been a while since I made content, and yeah, so it was a bit awkward, but still, hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching, and yeah, just send me tells in game if you need help with any of the hotkeys or anything that I made. So I'm gonna help out if I'm available. Yep. All right. So good luck, and see you next time.